ॐ श्री परमात्मने नमः। अथ नवमोऽध्यायः। अपि चेत् सुदुराचारः भजते मामनन्यभाक् साधुरेव समन्तव्यः सम्यग् व्यवस्थितो हि स क्षिप्रं भवति धर्मात्मा शश्वच्छान्तिं निगच्छति कौन्तेय प्रतिजानीहि न मे भक्तः प्रणश्यति मां हि पार्थव्यपाश्रित्य येऽपि स्युः पापयोनयः स्त्रियो वैश्यास्तथा शूद्राः तेऽपि यान्ति परां गतिं किं पुनर्ब्राह्मणाः पुण्याः भक्ता राजर्षयस्तथा अनित्यमसुखं लोकम् इमं प्राप्य भजस्व माम् मन्मना भव मद्भक्तः मद्याजी मां नमस्कुरु मामे वैश्यसि युक्तैवम् आत्मानं मत्परायणः। ॐ तत्सत् इति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे राजविद्या राजगुह्ययोगो नाम नवमोऽध्यायः।
All right. So now in the next couple of verses, Bhagavan talks about his swabhava. What is Bhagavan's swabhava? How does he deal with people? So here he says, api chet suduracharaha. Even though somebody who has wrong thinking, his mind is driven by evil, durachara means somebody is, evil conduct, mind, whose actions are evil. Bhajate mam ananya bhak. But when he worship me with that single pointed devotion, Bhagavan, अब आप ही हो मेरा सहारा, तुम ही हो माता पिता, तुम ही हो बंधु सखा, तुम ही हो. That kind of ananya bhav, when somebody develops, even though he has been a durachari, doesn't matter, that single pointedness is important. Ananya bhav. Sadhu reva samantavya. He should be considered like a sadhu. Once that you cannot remember him from his past actions. He becomes right away a sadhu. That's the samyak vyavasito hi saha. Samyak vyavasito. Samyak means good, something that is righteous. Samyak vyavasito, that his from a durachari he becomes a sadachari. That's his thing right away. It's like all he has to do is he has to come to Bhagwan with that ananya bhak. Ananya bhak means with that single pointed resolve that this is what I am going to do. Enough of my past, I can just wipe it like this. That's Bhagwan's guarantee. That it is not like it's a slow process. It can be very fast. Example of when Vibhishan came to see Bhagwan, he's Ravan's brother. So they captured him. They means Sugriv and his soldiers. And they brought him in front of Bhagwan. So Bhagwan asked him, so बोला कह प्रभु सखा बूझिए कहा. अब you tell me, Sugriv, what should I do with him? And he says, sir, he is brother of Ravan. You can't trust him. He is a dangerous guy. And I think we should, जानी न जाए निशाचर माया काम रूप के ही कारण आया. We don't know his real reason why he is here. So भेद हमार लेन सठ आवा. He's come to get our secrets, He wants to know what we are doing so he can help his brother. राखिए बांधी मोही असभावा. माय रिक्वेस्ट इज कि उसको बांध के रखो. डोंट लेट हिम डू एनीथिंग. बट हियर भगवान से सखा नीति तुम नी की बिचारी. तुमने बड़ी अच्छी बात बताई सुग्रीव, बट आई हैव सम प्रॉब्लम्स विद दिस. कहते हैं मम पन शरणागत भयहारी. बट once somebody surrenders to me, I remove his fears. Bhayahari. Bhaya means fears. I am going to absolve him of all his fears come from sin only. So I am going to absolve him of all his past actions. That's how I am. This is Bhagwan's Swabhav. You know. सुनी प्रभु भरत बचन हर्ष हनुमाना. हनुमान जी बड़े खुश हुए. He knew why Vibhishan has come, because he is the one who actually gave him that inspiration to come to Bhagwan. He says, मेरे जैसे बंदर को भगवान has accepted. So you are such a learned person. You will definitely be in his good books. कहता है शरणागत बच्छल भगवाना. So Bhagwan is so kind that he is, here Bachal is like a cow licks the, dirt off the calf. He makes sure he gets what the calf needs. So Bhagavan is like that, giving everything that the good for the calf. कहता है कोटि विप्र बद लाग ही जाओ. कोटि विप्र बद 1 करोड़, 10 million. This person has killed Vipra. Vipra means learned people, Brahmins, that he has killed the. कहता है कोटि विप्र बद लाग ही जाहु, आए शरण तजहु नहीं ताहु. When they come to me, I don't reject them. Nobody is rejected in Bhagwan's Darbar. Even if they have done, this is like one killing is worth 1,000 years of, punishment. But even with 10 million killings, when they come to Bhagwan, कहते हैं सन्मुख होई जीव मोहि जब ही जन्म कोटि अग नास ही तब ही. Once they turn to me, once they come to me with that same bhav, mam ananya bhak, with that bhakti, bhajate mam. So with that bhakti, with that love, with devotion, they come to me. सन्मुख होई जीव मोहि जब ही जन्म कोटि अघ नास ही तब. Nag janam koti means their the sins of their past, all the past. Koti means millions, of lives that they have lived, immediately washed out. It's like they come to me and I take care of them. So they don't have to worry about. See, we think the karmas are, are eternal. Karmas are eternal to the point where our mind has now given. Who is doing the karma? The karta is doing the karma. When that karta is gone, then you cannot associate that karma with anybody anymore. So that is the beauty of this. Uh, Anyway, the next verse continues with that same bhava. Kshipram bhavati dharmatma. Kshipram means quickly. Quickly he becomes a dharmatma. That even the worst sinners, there are so many examples, but Shashvat Chanti Nigachati, that they attain the eternal peace. They attain that mindset where they are at peace with themselves, They attain that immediately. Kaunteya Bhakti Jani hi, understand this, O Kaunteya, O dear Arjun, you understand this very important thing. Name bhaktah pranashyati, that my bhaktas never perish. So let's understand this a little more. Perish does not mean that, perish means that this person is going down. That's what perish means, that he is uh, going into that karma loop that he cannot get out of. But once he has surrendered to me, once, this is the so assuring, Bhagwan's, somebody may think maybe I am not qualified, but here Bhagavan says, no qualification needed. All you have to do is just come to me, surrender to me, and then I will take care of you. This is the एक बारी, once a thief went to a king's palace and he stole something. And when he was running, the guards came to know about it. And they told the king, see, this guy has just stolen something from the palace and he's running. So this person started to run, the guards started to run after them. And this thief, he saw there was went into the jungle and he saw there was a little hut of a hermit, some Mahatma was there. And he didn't see the Mahatma. He just saw, there was some clothes there. So he quickly changed into those clothes and sat down. And when the king came, he entered, he was sitting like a Mahatma, and the king did his pranams to that thief who was wearing the clothes. And so then king left. And this thief started thinking, just by changing the clothes, I got so much respect. What if I actually become a sadhu? So that change of heart happened. When that change of heart happened, everything that he was thinking changed. So this is, a old story, but the point is that whenever that change happens, that's the starting. And once you have uh, taken that direction, Bhagwan says, Kshipram bhavati dharmatma, that you quickly become a dharmatma. From a chore to dharmatma, that journey was very short. So not just by wearing clothes, but that change of heart is important. Same story with Valmiki also, the great Ratnakar Daku, that he was a murderer, plunderer, whatever, nobody was. But once that change happened, everything was, you know, taken care of. He was quickly, like when a student gets admitted to medical school, when the kids start going, the parents start calling him a doctor. Uh, my doctor son or my, they know that eventually he is going to become a doctor. That's the path that he is on. So it's like that. Once you have the change of heart, the mindset is developed that, enough of this. I want to change my um change my lifestyle. Then Bhagavan says, you just come to me. So from durachara to sudurachara to sadachara to dharmatma. So this is the progression, you get to that. And Bhagavan says, why you want to become that? Why do you want to become a dharmatma? He says, yatha dharmam tata sukham. That sukh is only in doing the right things, Whenever, why we feel sometime bad is because we said something or we did something that's bothering us, something that is as an action that we did or as a result of some action, so because there was some impurity in that action. So when there is a purity in action, purity in our intention, then there is a peace in our mind. That is the goal that we are talking about. Then, things like the story of Meera. She was so devoted to Krishna that even when they gave her uh, the poison, and they asked her, "This is poison. You drink it because that's your for all your things that you have done. You know, you have not been living like the bahu of a royal family. You are living like uh, a simple devotee of Krishna. Then you are not, that's the punishment for you." And she drank it and nothing happened. So Bhagavan takes care of that. Same thing with Prahlada. You know, when his father was, Hiranyakashipu, was trying to kill him over and over. Many ways he tried, but every time he failed because Bhagavan was protecting him. Bhagavan was. That's why Bhagavan is saying, "My devotees never perish." So anyway, so these are reassuring things Bhagavan is saying to. Now Bhagavan says this is a little controversial verse, and a lot of people have used against Hinduism, but let's talk about it. Mam hi partha vyapyashrityah. That means, "O Partha, you know, always surrender to me." You always surrender to me means you always dedicate all your action to me. So I will make sure you get the right results. Yepi syu papa yonayaha. Not just you, all the papa yonis. Usually papa yonis is the it means the sinful birth, or the that they are born in a very of their past, because of their past sins, like the animals. The the animals are called papa yonis, and that, as we had talked about in some earlier chapters, that uh, with your karmas you can either stay in the same plane or you go up based on your merits that you have collected over, through your actions, or you may go down as anything. So even those, yepi means those also, whosoever they are, it doesn't matter. Even those papayonis. The next sentence, Bhagavan, they use striyo vaishyas tatha shudraha. Vaishya means the merchant, the trading community, or the striyo, the women, the Vaishya and Shudras, they tepi yanti param gati. They also attain the highest gati. That means they come to me. That's the highest gati. They also attain that. So this is the mahima of bhakti. So now, because some may say, "Oh, Bhagavan is talking about Varna ashram here," that, okay, this people who are not eligible, they still come to me. It's not like that. This is not but it has been misquoted many times when they say, "Oh, see the position of women." He's saying Papa Yoni. But the point is that in the first line, Pap Yoni ends. The next line says Striyo Vaishyas Tatha Shudraha. So because karmas give you different kind of birth. Today, what we are is because of our past karmas. If we go with that belief system. But moksha is not a result of karma. Karmas don't give moksha. Karmas can give you karma phala. Moksha cannot be a karma phala. The moksha comes from the right understanding of who we are. Moksha doesn't come from an action. Action is temporary, action is short, action has a starting and ending. So the result also has a starting and ending. So every action has a, you know, Newton's law, every action has equal and opposite reaction. But here it says every karma has a karma phala attached to it, but both are temporary. So, but moksha is not a result of karma. So karma gives different kind of births. We tomorrow, based on my karma, I could become a dog or a cat or a cow or a human being. Depends. But if I have started this journey of gyan, that I have to figure out, what is the see जो भक्त और ज्ञानी में क्या फर्क है? The jnani is trying to go inwards and start to realize his own truth, who he is, who she is. The bhakta is the one who sees only Paramatma everywhere. So his mindset, the both are actually, the goal is same. The goal is seeing oneness in everything. So Jnani is going inwards. The bhakta is seeing Bhagwan everywhere. So here, when we talk about pap yoni, the sinful birth, so that's where the sentence ends. So, but they are talking about the glory of bhakti. That's the goal. That even those who have, because of karma, because of whatever reason of the past, they got this birth, they are also eligible. It doesn't matter. So the pap is what obstructs us, our growth in spirituality. What is stopping us from doing that? So, but because of Bhagwan's grace or sadhu sangati, it is possible that we change the direction, you know. Because some may say, I am so niche, I have done so much wrong. I don't think I am even eligible. Bhagwan says, no, don't worry about it. Even in Ramayana, people like Jatayu or all the monkeys, Sugriv, the Vibhishan, who was a Rakshas, So all these people got the moksha, So same thing with Shabari, Ahilya, because their mind was so pure that Bhagavan has no option but to take care of them. So because Papa Yoni means that they don't have the Viveka. Because, in animal kingdom, there is, those, they don't have the Viveka Buddhi. So that is why, Bhagwan talks about like that. So, sometime this, this was Swamiji was talking about it, that somebody asked this question, how come our scriptures have this about Striya, Vaishya, Shudra? Bhagwan is very discriminative. So they said once, they asked this question. The man said, I learned this verse, and he asked his wife, Bhagwan is calling you Papi Yoni. And so she says, okay, but you have not read the whole shloka, because he says, no matter who you are, it doesn't matter, because once you have turned your mind to me, rest is my problem. I take care of you. So that is the goal here, that liberation is not something that is for a particular group of people. It is not limited to who has accepted Christ, or somebody who's has a particular god or particular thing, mindset, or driven in that direction. Bhagwan's, in Ramcharitmanas, Manas, when Bhagwan is talking to Shabari, at that time he says that Manahu ek bhagati kar nata. For me, the relationship has nothing to do with varna, ashrama, if you are a woman or a man or a kid or, or anything. Bhagati means love. That the only relationship that I understand is of love. If you love me, I take care of you. That's the whole point here. So here Bhagwan says about when they say about Stri, Chinmayananda has talked about it in this particular verse especially. He says Bhagwan is not talking about a body. Bhagwan is talking to a mind, and mind has no gender. It's gender free. But the Stri Swabhava can be in both men and women. Stri Swabhava means that they are soft, more emotional, more, they develop more attachments. So Bhagavan says, that is the Stri Bhava is what we are talking, or the Vaishya Bhava. Vaishya Bhava means he is looking for profit. Business people are looking for what is in it for me. Where can I benefit from it? So that is the swabhava of a business person. So that's called Vaishya Vrati. Vrati is the mindset. So if I do this, if I do this many japas, what will I get? Bhagavan says, don't do like a business person. We are not in a transactional mode. You do it because you love it. That's the point. Or Shudra Vritti is where you are not thinking clearly. You have not developed enough viveka, so you are doing what other people tell you to do. So no matter what it is, the or somebody who has no training in spirituality, that's Shudra too. So here when we are talking about the mindset, so this is the mindset we are talking about. So so in because in many scripture, they say, okay, this person is eligible, this person is not eligible. Bhagwan is actually, if you think about it, the Bhagavad Gita is not promoting any kind of ritual. Throughout Bhagavad Gita, you will not see a single place where Bhagwan is promoting you do this or that or whatever. Bhagwan is promoting meditation, but the meditation has no specific ritual. Meditation is going inwards. When you have, even when he talks about gyan and vigyan, or all these things are related to the mind only. There's no physical rituals that Bhagwan is promoting. Same way he's promoting the Ananya Bhakti. That is the important. So this we have to understand as the Bhakti Mahatmya. So because if you go in the Gyan mark, there are some qualification needed, like sadhan chatushtayam, vivek, vairagya, shat sampatti, mumukshutvam, all these things are required. But in bhakti nothing is required, only love for Bhagwan is required. So that makes things, uh, the next two verses are continuation of Mahima of Bhakti only. So we'll quickly wrap it up. Kim pun Kim puna brahmanaha punyaha. So talking about the Brahmins, here earlier they talked about Papa Yoni and all these things. Here they are talking about the same thing continues. Bhaktya, because somebody may say, oh, you are only going to take care of them. What about these people, who are on this path? So Bhagavan says, they also, the uh, that not only you know, Bhagwan is very impartial. That Bhagwan has said it in this chapter before, Bhaktya Raj Rishya Statha, even the Bhakta, Raj Rishi, and Anityam Asukham Lokam. So Imam prapya bhajasvamam. So, what to talk about those who are learned Brahmins? It's not like Brahmins have a special place. Those who are bhaktas, who are Rajarishis, etc. Goal is that people become bhakta. Whenever they become bhakta, they attain that param gatim. So, see, ninth chapter onwards, ninth, 10th, 11th, this is, and 12th, they are all on, focus is on bhakti. Why? That, they saw that Bhagavan talked about karma and how you have to develop the that mindset, and talked about the dhyana. Then when the question came in the seventh chapter, Bhagavan said, okay, Arjuna is a little confused whether he doesn't know whether he can do it or not. So Bhagavan said, okay, let me tell you that there is a easier way of doing it, which is develop love for Bhagavan. So the moral of the shlok is Mam bhajasva. That's what it says here. Anityam asukham lokam. Anityam asukham. Asukham means that which is not going to give you happiness, that which is going to cause sufferings. And anityam, that which is always changing. It has no permanency in it. This is what loka means, the our the field of experience. So in this field, when we are in this, earlier Bhagavan has talked about it as uh, it is dukkhamayam. There is only dukh in this. So Bhagavan uses the word asukham here. Imam prapya bhajasvamam. Those who are in this anitya and asukham lokam, those people also, when they worship me, imam prapya bhajasvamam, when they bhajasva is they think of me, they worship me, they are also and they don't run after samsara. So we can either do one thing, either we run after samsara or we run after Bhagwan. So those who run after samsara, they are going to get the anitya vastu also. But if we want the nitya vastu, so Bhagwan says that don't run after the samsara. Don't run after the sansar means don't run after the worldly joys, worldly enjoyments, because they are very limited. They may give you joy for a short time, but then it is gone. So why go after the uh, what is it called, the anitya world? So answer is Mam Bhajam. You worship me. So not to run after this Anitya, they have asukham, because when you run after the world, the nature of that is asukham and anitya, temporary and sorrowful. So that is why Bhagwan says, you worship me. And this, the last verse is like the Bhagavan has synthesized the whole chapter in this verse. Man mana bhav mad bhaktaha madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi yukta evam atmanam mat parayana. There are 5 things Bhagavan has prescribed here. So how you should worship me. He says, man mana bhava, mad bhakta bhava, madhyaji bhava, mat parayana bhava, mam namaskuru. So this is the way to unite with Bhagwan. How do you become one with Bhagwan? These are the 5-step process. Man manabhav means this comes in 12th chapter also, and also in the 18th chapter separately. Man manabhav means that put your mind in me. That means instead of wasting your time in thinking about other things, you focus your mind, or the intent of your thinking should be Bhagwan, so you become my you know person whose mind is is attracted to Bhagwan. Man mana bhava. Give me your mind. I'll take care of you. We are not ready to give our mind to Bhagwan. Mad bhaktaha. That means you become my devotee. Devotion is love only. It is that love where you are not. See, when you love somebody, then you are constantly thinking about that person. You are constantly thinking, how can I make this person happy? How can I make uh, you know the relationship better? So that love you have to develop for Bhagwan. So that's why mad bhakta bhava. And madhya yaji is yagya, puja, all these things are part of yaji. Madhyaji is that you, if you want to do yagya, you want to do puja, do it for me. Do that as act of worship for me. So Bhagwan is giving this 5-step process. That means you start valuing. So when you say see, normally if you say I love something, that means you put a lot of value in that. I love my dog, I love my cat, I love my purse, I love my shoes. You can love that, but you may not respect those. So here, when you have both love and respect, that's when it becomes bhakti, that I am devoted to it. That is my goal in life. So mama namaskuru, you prostrate to me. Basically you surrender your ego to me, that I am nothing without you. I am giving myself to you. So that is what mama namaskuru means. And mat parayana, paramayana, this means that that my supreme goal, my only goal in life is to get to Paramatma. That my that I want to dedicate my life to that. So when all karmas are directed towards that goal, so so these 5-step process is kind of Bhagwan's summary of everything that he has talked about in the last 50% of this chapter. Uh, so point is that we have to surrender our ego to Bhagwan. Surrendering ego means that I am nothing, you are everything. So I want to give myself to you. It's a very hard thing because ego is not a easy thing to control. Ego is, see, if it was something physical, I could handle that. But what ego does it changes its role. Even when you become bhakta, then you get the pride of being a bhakta. That is ego also. Ego takes up many roles. But surrendering ego means that I am nothing, that this bhav has to be there. In this way, Bhagavan says, you become one with me. You know, that in the last part, Atmanam mat parayana, that you are going to become one with me. So even when we go to sleep, what happens? We basically have to give up all other things that we were doing. Watching TV, turn it off. You're reading something, you put it down. And then you lie down, and slowly the sleep takes over you. You don't, we say we fall in, you know, I'm, I fall asleep, I fell asleep. But point is, the sleep has its own way of taking over you. So, but you have to become ready for it. If you say, oh, no, no, I must watch TV, Sometimes the sleep will take over at that point also. But the point is, you have to give up these things. All the other things that you are doing, you have to surrender before the sleep takes over. Same way for Bhagwan also. Bhagwan says, you give up all these, external things that you are so focused on. If you want to come to me, you have to give this up. Yeah, otherwise, you go enjoy these. If you think you get something out of it, then I don't, you know, uh, Bhagwan gives us a lot of freedom. That's the the point. So in that freedom, when we choose Bhagwan, then that manmana bhava, mam namaskuru, mad jaji, mad bhakto bhava, become my bhakta. And so this is the basically you become the adhikari. This is the way to be one with Bhagwan. So that's the end of this chapter, and but the last verse is really beautiful. People should memorize this verse. Nice. Then it says, Om Tatsati Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre. All these things we have done, Shri Krishna Arjun Samvade Raj Vidya Raj Guhya Yogo Nama Navamo Adhyaya. Raj Vidya is what we talked about in the beginning also. It is not the knowledge for royals. It is the royal knowledge. It is the greatest knowledge to get. He says once you get that knowledge, then even in the first verse itself, it says, after uh, idam tu te guhyatamam. It is the most secret, and that I am going to teach you this wonderful knowledge. Once you understand it, then you will attain the susukham kartum avyayam. That means that you will get to that ultimate happiness. So here we will conclude, and thank you for you know keep coming to this class and making it happen. This completes 50% of Bhagavad Gita. 9 chapters are over, and now we'll take some break during the summer and restart sometime in September.